And here we are. Welcome everyone to today's show where we'll be talking about regular stream show setup, and I'll be talking about how I do this show setup, specifically because there is ways that you can do it if you subscribe to YoloCast, but not everybody uses YoloCast. So I'm going to talk about how to do it if you have a YoloBox but don't have YoloCast, which if you're watching the show, you probably have a YoloBox or are interested in a YoloBox. So that's really what I'm going to focus on today a little bit. And as I always say, welcome everyone. This is an international show. We've got a bunch of viewers on Facebook and we've got a bunch of viewers on YouTube as well. So it is a question and answer show. And unlike where you can post a question to the Facebook group and it might get answered eventually, I'm actually listening to you right now. It's live. I'm here, you're there, and you are watching me, and I am paying attention to you through the comments. So if you have a question or a comment or just a thought, a feature request or a bug report or something like that, let me know. I will, however, mention that my name is Anthony Barocas. I am here for YOLO Live, but I am an independent producer based in Texas. I'm an end user like you, like most people who are watching this show. And I am not I'm not part of the engineering team. I'm not part of the marketing and product team in China. So I can relay the information back, but I'm actually not part of YOLO Live corporate. So I don't have any inside information. If you ask a question that I don't have the answer to, I will let you know that I don't have the answer to it. I'm not going to make something up. I'm just going to be straightforward and honest with you. If you're watching on Facebook, know that we have, oh, I should change the background. Know that we have a YOLO Live Tech channel on YouTube. And on there are several channels of videos for YoloCast, for the in-stream, and also, let me switch over here to the laptop. You can go to the YOLO Live Tech channel, and there is a whole series of videos over here on the right that just tell you how to use it, different features, how to use a scoreboard, how to do graphic overlays, how to do audio mixing, how to optimize your internet, how to multi-stream. Really, it helps you get up to speed very quickly if you are new to using the YoloBox, or if you have been using the YoloBox but you don't know all the features that the YoloBox offers. If you are an original YoloBox user, YOLO Live just came out with an update for the original YoloBox. You can look at last week's live show on the YouTube channel for that. And I go through the different updates, but if you have the original YoloBox, that is still getting updates 6 years after it was made, unlike iPhones, which don't. And then the YoloBox Mini and the Pro are sort of on par. They have very almost identical feature sets in terms of software. Hardware, obviously, the Pro has 3 HDMI inputs and the Mini has 1 HDMI input. But they are both perfectly appropriate for the markets that they're intended. If you're watching on YouTube and you are not part of the official YOLO Live user group on Facebook, I heartily recommend it. There are thousands of people in it, and there's a lot of dialogue and helping each other. And I'm seeing this, are you seeing this? How can I do this? You know, so if you haven't watched the tutorials, the user group is a great way to help learn and get up to speed quickly on things. If you are native Spanish speaking, Espanol, there's YoloBox in Espanol. So sometimes it's easier, much easier to converse in native language. I will say though, the official YOLO Live user group is multilingual only because Facebook does translation. So someone can write in Croatian and I can translate it to English. I can answer in English and he can translate it back. Not everything is perfect, but it's like a Babelfish, to quote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it enables everyone to communicate. And if you can't get your question answered in the user groups, remember there's always contact@yololive.com for tech support directly. Let me just double check, see how things are going here. Yo, wow, we almost doubled since the start of the show on YouTube, and we do have our Facebook viewers. So again, this is a question and answer show. If you have questions, I have answers, or at least I'll give it my best shot. I'm always curious to see who's going to come up with a question that can stump me, because I have been doing video production in this industry for over 20 years. Long before the YoloBox was even possible in a tablet. I've been using big things. I write for, well, I always seem to do this. So let's go to my overhead. I write for Streaming Media Magazine. You can see this is my column right here. Streaming Media. We come in here. There's a review of the Teradek Wave that I did. So I do a lot of content about streaming media. Going Pro with Remote Production by Anthony Barocas. That's my article. So yes, printed articles are still a thing. And as you can see, this is a big article. My editor always says, can you give me 1,500 words on, portable audio mixers? And I deliver an article of 3,000 words, and then that just gives them more to trim down. So better be long than be short and not fill the space. So anyway, if you have questions, type them in the comments, because I have comments coming in from all the different destinations, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. They're all coming back to me. I can see your comments, and I can do my best, as I said, to answer them. If I don't know the answer, I will let you know, and I'm curious who's going to be able to stump me first. Will it be you? Oh, and I always love to hear where people are viewing from, because this is a worldwide audience. We've had everybody from Australia, Hawaii, the Pacific Northwest. We've had all across America, England. I know the UK is in the audience today, throughout Europe, Denmark, South Africa. We usually have a couple from South Africa, India. So we do have a very wide-ranging audience. So let us quickly go through and see who's here today. We have JJ's Aviation TV is hi from the UK. Scrolling down, is Uz Etno says hello from Croatia. That's a hard one for me. Lola says, how do you add music in a show? I'll get back to that. Let's go back and see who everyone is watching. Deacon Roberts is in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and every time I say, it's got to be pretty nice there. Boo, 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 boo. Kirk Riley is in Dallas, Texas. I'm just north of Dallas. I'm up in Frisco. And Daval Video says greetings from Boston. Here we go. Display Pro live streaming is in South Africa. Wow, we always have people in Africa watching. I love that. Telly Language says hello from Boston. Well, I hope you're not underwater in Boston. I heard about the rain happening up there. Again, so if you haven't already told me where you're watching from, please do in the comments. I love to see where people are watching from. Let us scroll back up and go through those questions. So how do you add music in a show? So as you saw, there's a couple ways. You could have a video with music and play it, but just not cut to it. And make sure in the audio mixer, let me cut to the Pro here. In the audio mixer over here to the right, there it is. You would just make sure your local video here on the bottom right, I'm going to use the little thing down there on the bottom right, you're going to make sure that's on, so that when you turn on the video like that, you can, the other thing you want to do is make sure that you want to go to your video playing mode. Do you want it to loop or do you want it to stop? And then video switching, you probably want it to continue playing when switching. So this, let me go back over here. You can continue playing, and then that way you can start the video playing, cut back. Now the video, as you can see in the bottom down over here, is still playing. And because in the audio mixer, I have the audio over there still on, I can actually just vary that audio level, turn it down a little bit. And if you're listening to it with headphones, then you can adjust the audio of the person speaking and the background. That's one way. Another way is in your titles over here on the right, if you do a countdown title, I'm going to turn, which I'm not really going to do any settings, but right over here on the right there it says background music. So you can select that and pick a song, done. And now when you bring that up, that will automatically play the music, and it mutes your microphone, which is why you didn't hear me saying anything before the show. It automatically mutes the microphone and plays the audio from the MP3 clip that you have on your storage. The downside is you can't adjust the audio of this clip. You don't control looping. It'll loop as long as you've got the countdown timer. So if I have a 10-minute timer and a 2-minute song, it's just going to keep looping like the pre-show audio did. So you need to make sure that the audio, the volume of the clip, the audio level of the clip is where you want it to be when you export it from whatever you're using. So that way, if you want it to be full volume, it's full volume. If you want it to be under something, you need to export it at a lower volume and then bring it in. And the last way you can do audio into your YoloBox is to, let me turn the countdown timer off, is by bringing it in the mic or the line input on top and use an external device like a tablet or an MP3 player or a computer using Spotify or whatever. And that way you have full control of the audio separate from the YoloBox. You can control the output audio level there. You can change tracks. You can jump forward in a track. You can change songs. You can change themes. You can loop it, you could not loop it. By setting it all up in a separate device, it gives you full control of that separate from what's going on in the stream. So there's 3 different ways you can bring your music into the YoloBox. You can play it in. The thing you can't do is you can't bring an MP3 in and then just start playing it. There's not a section just for playing songs separate from switching titles and switching graphics and switching scoreboards and remote guests and video sources. You come to a point where there's trying to manage so many different things in one tablet becomes a little bit ungainly. So that answers your, I hope Lola, that answers your question and was useful. My original shuts off once not plugged in. Help, please. Well, welcome, Deacon. Make sure you have a 3-amp power supply. I did a video called My YoloBox Won't Charge. And it may be that the battery is not charging. It'll run, it has enough power to keep going, but the charger you have may be 2.4 amp, or you're not using the white cable that came with the YoloBox that is able to handle the 3-amp supply that you need. Any charger that'll push out 3 amps will be able to charge any of the YoloBoxes, in-stream, original, mini, whichever, it doesn't matter. But you need 3 amps. And if you need a more detailed explanation, again, go to the tech channel. There's a video called My YoloBox Won't Charge. And I talk about really checking the specifications, the tiny little data they put on these things. And like some of them will say, oh, this one's got, this one will charge 3 devices, but it really only has output power for 1, and the output power for 1 still only tops out at 2.4 amps. And even that is not enough for the YoloBox. You need 3 amps or better. So I hope that helps as well. How can I use 360 cameras without it slitting the screen in 2? That is a good question. I've not tried that. I have a 360 camera. I don't know if it has an HDMI out, because as far as I know, the output is, this is one HDMI output, and that camera is one HDMI out, or that's one camera and this is one camera. So you're either going to get one stereoscopic view of both fisheyes flat, because the YoloBox does not understand 360. So it's going to deal with it as flat HDMI. So you're going to have 2 spherical balls or 1 spherical ball, depending upon how it comes in. And you're going to have to switch based on just looking at the spherical views of each camera. I don't know if I haven't tried it. That's okay. You win. You win the first one to stump me. Display Pro. use 360 cameras without it slitting the screen in two. And then the other thing is you're going to have to switch through the YoloBox if you can get that to work. And then on the destination, you have to somehow indicate to the destination that you're feeding it 360. So then it takes this dual spherical ball flat video and rewraps it around into a spherical video. And that's going to be quite a thing. I think that might be beyond the purvey of the YoloBox, but I am not sure. I got a call coming in. Can't answer that one right now. Will Zoom representing Kenya. Welcome. Thanks for letting me know where you're coming from, and I appreciate Kenya being in the audience. I have questions. Sometimes changing the battery from, let's say, GH5, audio sometimes get lost, and I have to shut down the camera to retrieve the audio on the YoloBox. Yeah, when it loses the camera input, it depends on the camera. It doesn't always come back and fully find everything. Also, since the update that removed audio follows video, now if you want a source to be active, you have to turn on that source manually. If you pull the battery, the YoloBox loses that HDMI input. Let's just say it's HDMI input 2. You know, here's your camera, that's coming in the input 2. If you have to take the battery out and change the battery, that input doesn't exist anymore. So the camera, that input is removed from the audio source. It's removed from the video source. Then you put the battery back in, you turn it back on, now it's there. Well, it doesn't automatically turn that audio back on in the audio mixer part, because so many people have lobbied the YOLO Live to turn off audio follows video. Let us manually determine what audio goes into the mixer and gets activated, because there were many times, even here, me on the show, every single time the audio would reset to audio follows video, I would cut to the overhead camera and I would lose my audio because I would forget to turn that off. Most of the time when you switch cameras, you have the audio coming in either a line input or, as I do, with the main camera. And that way, no matter what you switch to, you want the audio to stay where you put it. You don't want the YoloBox just, oh, let me switch over here, let me switch over there. You don't want that most of the time. There are times you do, but most of the time you don't. And by turning audio follows video off, it gives the users the control of what the audio is doing. That also means you are now responsible for activating the audio channels that you want to use. Master in the Brand Productions, hello from Arizona. Hello. And I don't think I'd want to be in Arizona this week or last week, where I hear it's 100 degrees every single day. Over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. That would be, I don't know, at 42 some degrees Celsius. Somebody let me know in the comments what the 105 degrees Fahrenheit would be in Celsius, because it's some crazy number. Ben asks, what is your thought process when choosing where to place the cameras at a venue? That is a great streaming question. Not really related to YOLO Live, but let's base it on the YOLO Live, which has 3 video inputs. I always want a wide shot. I always want a wide shot because should anything happen, I need a wide shot to cover something else. It kind of also depends whether you have camera operators or you're just doing locked off shots. If I have camera operators, I'm going to have a wide shot from the back of the room looking at the stage, and I'm going to have another camera right next to it with a long zoom lens that is getting the main shot, whether it be a singer, somebody speaking, a presentation, a play, it doesn't matter, a dance recital, doesn't matter what it is, a soccer game. I follow the main player and everything, and then it gets kicked out of the shot. I don't know where it went. Cut to the wide shot, wide and close. Now, you can cheat using the YoloBox. Even the YoloBox Mini can do a really cool thing. It's got a USB input. So you use a USB webcam on top of your main camera with a long zoom lens. So you've got one tripod, one camera, and in the shoe is this webcam. And they follow each other because they're both going to pan and tilt because they're both connected to one tripod. And when you want that wide shot, you cut to the webcam. When you want the close-up, you cut to the camera. And then after that, you can have a side view, you can have an audience view if you want cutaways, if there's going to be a lot of audience involvement, like a play or a comedy show or an improv, they interact with the audience a lot. So having a shot of the audience sometimes really helps. Um, and then you just augment from there. The first thing is you need decent coverage. You also need decent audio. Audio is very important, so sometimes if your camera angles may not provide coverage, but you've got good audio, people will stay viewing. If you've got bad audio, but you've got a great camera angle, you're going to lose the audience, because really it's audio with pictures. So also make sure that you've got great audio as well. FM Photo Video Studio says, hello from Hungary, Budapest. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you in the audience today. I wish the audio was adjustable in the background music of countdowns. I agree, and there should be a slider in the countdown preference. Let's make it a feature request. And that gives me a great segue into where do we make it a feature request? Why? We go into the official YOLO Live user group and we say that we want this to be a feature, because YOLO Live has representatives like Frank and several others that are involved in the group. They hear what people are asking for and they take those requests back to the engineers. I also started a poll, several weeks ago. One of them has 600 votes. One is a feature request poll, and the other one is a bug poll. What bugs are you finding that bother you, that need to be addressed most importantly? And so, you can also comment on those polls as well. Let's go back to the comments. It would also be nice to play music files from the SD card or USB drive. Yes, that's going to be a bit more of a to-do, like I said, because then they'd have to create yet another pane on the right-hand side just to manage the playlist of audio. So, and that's going to be separate from the volume control. So then you're going to be bouncing back and forth between those two things. And then if you got comments, then you got to bounce to the comments tab. And if you want to do other titles, and you got to, so now you're bouncing back and forth between 4 different tabs on the right hand side. And that's why sometimes it's better just to put that into another device. Take an old iPod Touch and put it right next to your YoloBox, and now you've got a third tab that is just handling music, and it comes in the line input and it stays there, and you can vary the audio levels so that if one song is louder than another, you're touching another device that is dedicated to it, and that way you can just reach over and turn it down a little bit, and there you go. It's fixed. You don't have to jump out of the tab like I do. I have to jump between the comments tab and other tabs in order to do things. So if I want to do titles, I have to go over to titles. If I want to do comments, I have to go over to comments, because they take up the same pane on the right hand side of the Pro. And the more different facets you add, the more things want to be using that right pane at the same time, and it just becomes a little bit of a challenge. Al Bakra says, hello from Pico Riviera, California. Hello to you as well. I hope you are not where did it just have? Oh, I just heard there's some mudslides in California. So, or landslides or houses sliding. Lola Livestream Network says, thanks. You're welcome. I'm glad we could help. Is there a Discord group for YOLO? I don't know. There might be an unofficial group. I don't think there is an official group, because in the year and a half that I've worked with the YOLO Live team, I've never seen them promote Discord as a venue for discussion. And honestly, I know a lot of people use Discord and a lot of companies use Discord. The challenge with those systems is, just like Facebook, something gets commented on, then it gets pushed down, and then somebody makes a solution, which is a sub-comment of that or something. Stuff gets lost, just like on Facebook. So we don't need 5 different places where stuff can get lost. Having one place where stuff can get lost on Facebook is enough, I think. Max O'Daniel says hello, and Max O'Daniel is in New Jersey. I used to live up by New Jersey in Philadelphia. I'd go down the shore in the summer. Master the Brand Production says, yes, I had a question you skipped. I apologize for that. Master the Brand. Let's scrolling up. Hello from Arizona. I don't see Another question from Master the Brand. Boom, 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 boom. So I apologize if I missed it or it's just not showing up. Hello from Arizona is the first thing I see from Master the Brand. And then it says, I had a question you skipped. So I apologize for skipping it, but I literally don't see it in the comments thread. 38 degrees Celsius. Thank you very much for Display Pro telling me what 100 some degrees would be in Celsius. So, because I know we have an international audience and I use Fahrenheit because I'm in the US, but most everyone else uses Celsius. Richard Samor is in France. Hello from France. Why duplicate event does not carry all the details from previous event? That is true. And when I create a show, I encounter this every single week. It does not carry forward the streaming settings. It does not carry forward any titles, video sources that had titles attached to it. There are certain things, and I have to go through every single time and reset these things. So it carries through several things, but lots of little nuanced things don't get carried forward, and that is a bug. It's actually in the bug list poll that I created, that they need to go back to the duplicate and make sure that all those aspects are indeed captured and carried forward to a duplicated event in the YoloBox. So why? Because it's a bug. Q-Strokers Arabia. I'm really struggling to get the audio from my mixer to be synced with my Canon camera on my YoloBox in stream. Any solutions? My main solution is to feed the audio into your main camera. Whatever camera, whether it be a close-up camera, a side camera, whichever camera is your main camera, feed the audio into the camera, which is what I do here. That way, because the in-stream, like the YoloBox, is designed to what they call sync different cameras. Cameras, start at the top of the frame and take a picture going down the frame. Well, if they start at two different places, you can't cut between them. They have to be put in sync so that the start of the frame happens at the same time on each camera, as opposed to like going like this. And then if you cut from this frame to this one and you get half a frame, it's going to look really bad. So what these devices do is they basically take that signal coming in, rip it apart, time it to an internal clock, and then they all are in sync together. That takes time. That takes about a frame or two. Each frame is about 30 milliseconds. So anywhere between 30, 60, 90 milliseconds is the delay that it's going to take to rip these signals apart, sync them together, and rebuild them. And you could manually set your analog input to do that. Or what I do is I feed my microphone, which is right here on the table, via a mic output cable into my camera. And then that way, when that camera comes in, the audio is automatically delayed. It knows how long it's going to take. And that audio is automatically pushed back to that spot so that it has that delay inherent in the audio because I've brought it in with the video. Otherwise, I would just keep adjusting the settings till you find how far the in-stream delays. And I will also say, if you're using the noise reduction in the in-stream, that also delays it further. That's a whole separate delay, because I tried to use the in-stream audio delay into my YoloBox Pro, and the audio didn't match at all, because that audio was even further behind. And I can't tell my YoloBox to move it forward. I can only tell my YoloBox to delay. So if I can't delay a delayed video, that just pushes it further back. I am also getting not getting crisp audio. That's probably a really good question for the user group, because it would take a bit more information about what your entire setup is, what microphones you have, are they wireless or wired, how are they connected, what mixer you're using, what is your connection from the mixer to the device that you're using, and what are your settings at each stage. I do have a video in the tech channel over here Let's go all the way down to the bottom. It was one of the earlier ones. There is a good audio, a video on audio. My SIM card doesn't work. How to turn to top 10 features, top 12. Okay, I don't see it here. There's a video that talks about the many ways that your audio can get messed up because there's gain on the microphone. There's gain on the input of the mixer. There's the main gain on the mixer. There's gain for each of the faders as well. So you could be clipping the highs using one of the equalizer settings and not realize it. Then you got the output gain. Then you got the input gain on the YoloBox, and then the output gain on the YoloBox. And each of those needs to be set correctly in order for your audio to be clean all the way through. Just like my microphone has a gain, my camera has a gain, the input into my YoloBox has a gain, and I have to make sure each of those is not too loud, but also not too quiet to make sure I get good, clean, loud, but not clipping audio. Ben Beckner says, when setting up audio for my streams, I have the option to connect one of my cameras or to an audio port of my YoloBox Pro to one of my cameras. Which do you choose and why? Just answered that. Richard Samor says, hello from Paris. Do you have a link for a YouTube streaming via YoloBox Pro? Do I have a link for YouTube streaming? Yes, I do, because I'm streaming to YouTube right now. Do I have the link for YouTube stream for this show? I don't quite understand the question. I'm also using the built-in API, so I'm not using RTMP because RTMP will not grab the comments and bring it back to my YoloBox. So I'm using the built-in API so that the YoloBox will go grab the comments and bring them back so that I can make your comments part of the show. Zach Ismail says, hi from Holland. Hello from Holland. Given how hot it is here in Dallas today, I'd love to be in Holland. I recently noticed that a live feed takes a long time to see on YouTube, unlisted. Do you know why the delay? By long time, if 20 seconds is pretty much the standard, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, whether it be via the API or RTMP, about 20-25 seconds between my now and when you see it is pretty much the standard. YouTube has a low latency version, but remember, it has to go into your box, it has to be compressed, it has to be sent, so it has to go up to the cloud. YouTube and those services, they process that video. They take it, they rip it apart, and they make a really tiny stream at standard definition, a 720p version, a 1080p version. They make all these different versions for different audiences all at the same time. So that's how you can, select what quality you want in a stream, because they've taken this video that I've sent that's already been compressed, they rip it apart to full uncompressed video, and then they recompress all these other versions. That takes time. And then you have the down speed. So you have, a couple seconds to come down, and all of that has to happen, which is a lot in just 20 seconds. When setting up my audio for my streams, I have the ability to connect mixer. I think I answered that one. Boo, 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 boo. Richard Samore says, hello from Paris. Max O'Daniel says, thank you. You're welcome. I guess that came in. The recording quality. Is there an earlier question with that? I got hello from Holland, and then I've got the recording quality. I don't exactly know what the question is. A Nigeria streamer is here. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. And you're on Facebook too. Not too many people are watching on Facebook, so I appreciate you being there on Facebook as well. Display Pro says, I'm thinking of getting the A10 Mini Pro just to add more cameras and take the strain off the YoloBox OG. Thoughts? Ooh, I like the little cloud icon. Sometimes those icons don't come through. Was it last week's or the week before show? Was literally on A10 and the YoloBox Pro. And me personally, I use one. And if you saw the photo setting up for today's show, I have an A10 Mini here. And with the A10 Mini, the way I use it is, even with the Pro that has 3 hardwired inputs, it's easy for me to switch what's in that box very easily because I can go between the laptop and the other laptop and the output of the Pro and my overhead camera because I'm using a switcher that's over here to switch. Actually, I just drag it in. Here you go. I'm using that, and you can see laptop, my second, my Pro, my overhead. So when I switch to the laptop, there it goes. When I switch back over to the overhead, there it is. And that's what I'm using to do the switch for that box. Two good reasons. First, it's got physical buttons, so I don't have to look at it. I know the laptop is the leftmost button, so I can switch to the laptop like that. I don't have to look at it because it's got a physical button. I can feel it. I can switch back to the overhead. Okay, I'm going to look at it like that. But you get my point. The second thing is, on the YoloBox, there's two, or on the Pro, there's two of each of these setups. And I think on the original YoloBox, there's one. So if you want to have 4 different things over there, you have to have some other solution, because none of the YoloBoxes are going to let you do 4 different side-by-sides preset that you can tap between. So by using an external mixer as to what goes over on that side, that gives me the ability to use that ATEM mixer to do what happens over there. So there's my laptop, and this is my second laptop. And we'll get to the main part of today's show, which is setting up a live stream, in a minute. I just saw a couple more questions come in. And this is what I love the show. The show is driven by your questions. So if you've got questions and you want an answer right now, this is your opportunity. So I hope Display Pro, that answered your question on the ATEM Mini Pro. I don't even have the ATEM Mini Pro. I got the ATEM Mini. I got the most basic ATEM because somebody else upgraded, so I got this one secondhand. This one doesn't do recording, it doesn't do streaming, it doesn't do ISO, it doesn't do anything except switch 4 inputs to an output, which is literally all I wanted it to do. I don't need to ISO my laptop. I don't need it to ISO. I don't need it to stream. I'm using the YoloBox for streaming. So all those other features would be extra for me. They could be kind of good if I didn't want to use the YoloBox, but you know, this streaming show is about the YoloBox. So the YoloBox is doing the titling, the streaming, the comments, the green screen, everything else. All I needed to do was switch between 4 inputs over there, and the original ATEM Mini is perfect for that. BE Multimedia says, this is a long one, so I'm going to jump over here. I streamed Teams over the weekend, but the MP4 video I played did not play with the audio, but I can... MP4 video I played did not play with the audio, but I can hear the sound on my headphones, but my audience could not hear the sound. I also put on the audio... I'm guessing you turned that channel on in the audio mixer. That's a good question. Second one that has stumped me today. I don't know. My question would be, were you coming out of the USB-C of the YoloBox Pro, or were you coming out HDMI? Because I think if you come out HDMI and then use a little, if I can hold on to it, a little USB HDMI to USB converter, then you're taking whatever comes in the HDMI. I think if you come out USB, there may be some issues as to, is the audio being included with the USB, whereas with the HDMI it's not a question. It's always being output with the HDMI output, as long with the headphones as well. How can I record to USB with the same quality? If you tell the YoloBox to record to your USB, that's where you want it to go, then that is where it will go. I record to the SD card. That's actually a good question. Let us check that. Let us go to my overhead, and I'm going to plug in a USB stick in my Pro. And of course, it always goes in wrong the first time, doesn't it? Doesn't it? And then we are going to come over here, and we're going to say encoding settings, encoding, storage settings. See where it says SD card, and let me cut to that. SD card or USB, so that's where the storage is going. So if I say I wanted to go to the USB storage, that's where it's going to be recorded. And I'm going to test that by yanking this out. And when I yank it out, you can see it's not an option for my storage. So That is how you can do that. How can you do it with the same quality? Uh, the answer to that is you can't do it any other way. There is only one encoder in the YoloBox and the endstream. One encoder. There's one compression. So if you say 4 megabits, 4 megabits is what gets streamed and recorded. You can't pick a second data rate anywhere. You can't record at 10, but stream at 2. You can't. One data rate, both places. That same stream of data goes to both places. So the question is, how can you record to USB with the same quality? It has to be the same quality because there is only one encoder. Feature requests. Use one or any of the HDMI ports to use for PIP or invited guests. Use one of the ports animated graphics from Title Live Pro using key switch in YoloBox. Otherwise, it works with standard PIP. That one sounds like it's a bit more complex for me to understand, as in it needs more words in the comment. Probably good. Go to the feature request poll on the Facebook group and make a comment. Or actually, you can actually, I said users can add items. Let's do that. Gideon Boyson from Trinidad. Why is the YoloBox so picky with USB cables? Is there a special type of cable needed in terms of inputs, outputs, or power? Why is it so picky? I'm going to guess you're asking about power. You didn't specify that, but why is it so picky? Because at 5 volts, you get a voltage drop from cables very quickly. So your 5 volts, 3 amps won't be 5 volts, 3 amps at the end of 10 feet unless you have thick enough wires in the cable. And if you choose a cable based on cost, I want a low-cost cable, then it's not going to be made with the best wire and thicker wire because that costs more. So that's, there's Anchor cables and then there's your $5 Amazon cable. They're not the same quality. And I don't think it's so much the YoloBox being picky. I think it's the fact that those cables are actually doing different things. So if you need a USB cable to deliver power over a longer distance, you're going to need a better, thicker, heavier duty cable so that you get less voltage drop. And that is a mathematical absolute. Voltage will drop over distance with any sort of cable, whether it be AC cable or DC cable, but DC is more susceptible to it. Sports Production Services Network says, hello from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Thanks for all your great content. I'm happy to help you. Display Pro live streaming says, thank you. You're welcome. Is there a way to get the preview camera sizes bigger? No. That's built into the interface of the YoloBox. Okay, I'm wrong. You can take the output of the YoloBox, like, here we go on HDMI 2. Over there, that is the HDMI output of the Pro, which is right here. So I'm taking the HDMI out and I'm feeding it into the right-hand side over there. So now you're seeing that. I can put that on a 27-inch monitor. Actually, it's on a 23-inch monitor in front of me. And that way, everything is really big. So instead of being only 1 inch big, if that, 2 centimeters, on this screen in front of me, it's, a good 3 inches. So it's double the size. And that's because I have it windowed. If I take it full screen, now it's like a good 5 inches. So that is a way that you can have your previews bigger. You just take the output of the HDMI output of the YoloBox Original Pro, whatever, and put it on a big monitor in front of you. Now you can see your inputs really big down the bottom. On my YoloBox Pro on Facebook Live 1080p, easy in my eyes, it will not go higher than 720p at upload by Facebook 720p. Same settings. That's a Facebook thing. You can only push. If Facebook is having a bad day, then people are only going to get the low data rate stream. I have done streams. Okay, here's the other thing. Do you mean live Or do you mean later that day? Because I've also had problems with Facebook in that we've done a live show. I've checked it. It's been full 1080p. The show is done. 5 minutes later, I go to check it. It's 480. And the reason that is Facebook is recompressing it as much as possible to a smaller file to save space. And those other files, the 720p and the 1080p, will be uploaded later. And in some cases, despite my client getting very pissed off at me, days later. Like, where's the 1080p version? I don't know. I don't have control over Facebook. I'm not going to call Zuckerberg up on the phone and say, hey, my video. I mean, Facebook is handling billions of people around the world. I am nothing to Facebook, and they will get to it when they get to it. So that is unfortunate, but that is the way Facebook works. Facebook is not as professional for live streaming as YouTube is. YouTube is a video service. Facebook is a interactive social media thing that happens to do video, but they're not the best video solution out there. Display Pro says, brilliant! Did not know that you can record to USB. Yes, you can. Noel, hello from Puerto Rico. Good to have you in today's show. Thank you for chiming in. In which data rate can I set to get a quality record? As high as possible. I do this show at 4 megabits. If you think this show looks good, 4 megabits is pretty good. I do 4 megabits at 1080p 30 because I'm in the US. If you're doing 720p, it tops out at 2 megabits, which generally is enough for 720p. But people have said they want a higher data rate. 1080, if you are streaming, will go to 8 megabits. Not everybody is going to have enough bandwidth to reliably carry 8 megabits, because I always say you should have double your upload speed, because it's always going to vary. It may not be at your building. It may be down somewhere else. It's always going to vary. So if you want a reliable 8, you should test and have 16 up. And it should be 16 every single time you test, like test multiple times. And if you get less than 16, you know that it is bouncing around a little bit. If you want a reliable 8. That 8 is also going to be what you record at. But as I says, I'm doing 4. If I went up to 8, this would not look twice as good. In fact, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. So is there a benefit to doubling the data rate? Probably not. To Evento Live PR, hello from Puerto Rico. Hey, you and Noel should get together. You could have a YoloBox meetup. Tripote, Lake says, hello from Orlando. Can you bring a live guest in when using the YoloCast event? I believe you can, because YoloCast events are the output. As long as your YoloBox is set to streaming mode, which it will be to do a YoloCast event, then remote guests will be available. If you're, it is only not available if you are in monitor mode. If you're in monitor mode, you're telling the YoloBox, I am not connected to the internet, and it turns off all those things that would require internet, like remote guests. Ulet's Technology says, hey, I would like to choose a custom thumbnail for the uploaded videos on YoloCast. Also, when I share a link for live stream, the custom thumbnail does not show in the link. Let's get to that. Perfect segue. Thank you. And I know we got 10 minutes, but hey, if we go a little long today, we'll go a little long today. So what I've got here is, let's go to my picture-in-picture. I've got my Pro. Yes, let's exit this. And I've got a Streaming 101 show. And the thing I haven't done yet is I have not put this on my channel. So just to show everyone what I did was, in order to create this show, which is scheduled, I clicked on this one and it says duplicate. And then I said duplicate, and then I named the show. So this is the show that I have. It says Streaming 101. And if I go into this show, here it is. You can see on the right hand side, those are the channels I wanted to go. The first thing you're going to need to do if you want to go to multiple channels is you're going to have to go over to your settings, come down to your streaming mode, you click on that, and you're going to want to select the top one. This is one of the pieces of data that does not get carried from show to show. So I need to reset this every single show. So where it says using YoloLive's streaming service right here, that's what I'm going to want to do. So I'm going to turn that on. Yes, I know. So, and then it throws me back here. Now I'm in this streaming mode. I can come back over here to my streaming destinations and I can turn on Aiba Tech Thoughts. Now, before I do that, let me show you my, not that one, this one. So here is my Aiba Tech Thoughts channel. And the reason I'm not doing this with the YoloLive channel is because I'm on the YoloLive channel and it's just easier not to mess with what I'm doing live. So this is my live content. I can click on videos. You can see there's many of my videos. We're going to go to my live content. And here it says, I have no upcoming live streams. Now this live stream, actually, let me go back to the Pro and we'll go back out. Done. And it says it's scheduled. I'm trying to figure out where I can adjust the schedule. I don't think I can. Like, you create the schedule when you first create it, but I don't think you can go in and edit that once you've created it on the YoloBox. And again, I'm doing all this on the YoloBox. I'm not using YoloCast because there's a much smaller pool of viewers who are using YoloCast than who have a YoloBox. So I'm focusing on doing this on YoloBox. So I'm going to create this on Aiba Tech Thoughts. We're going to make it public. I'm going to say done. 2, 3, and there it is. And we're going to go on Facebook. And where on Facebook? We're going to put it on a page that I manage, and we're going to put it on the Aiba Communications page. Done. And that's going to take a little longer. I don't know why Facebook takes longer. It just does. There we go. And we're going to put it on my Twitch channel, AibaCom. Okay, now it's going to all three of those things. Great. But we're not done. Because this has created an event, but there's several problems. One of which is Facebook, in my experience, and I've seen other people post about this too, always gets the time wrong. I don't know why. I said this event is going to happen Thursday at 12 o'clock noon Central Time. 12 o'clock. Now I'm viewing all this content from Central Time. So let's go over to the computer. Here's the live. Let us just refresh this page. And it should pull the new data. No. There is my new Streaming 101 show. And we can click on that, July 13th, scheduled. Let us go into the details for this. There it is, July 13th at 12 o'clock. So YouTube pulled the time correctly. I did not create a description. You can create a description and you can add more here. I find it much easier to type a really long description and put in links and all this stuff on a computer, on the website, than to try and do it on the YoloBox. You can create the event on the YoloBox and you can put in a description. It's just easier to do like lots of content on the computer. And then down here, this is your thumbnail. This is where you upload the thumbnail. So what I have over here is for the show that we have like this. Let's click over here. For this show, I use Canva to create these things every week. I change the number, I change the title, but because this is a regular stream, I want to have consistency. So I take this thing and I carry it forward week to week. And for that, I use Canva. Let's go back over here. And so I come over to Canva. You can see I've got these things here. And then what I would do is I would export that show. See, there's audio mixing. You want show number 2 for audio mixing. And you would say upload thumbnail. And I'm not really going to upload a thumbnail. I'm just going to have something on the desktop. I don't, of course. I should have a picture here. Let's just grab this picture, okay? Open. There it goes. File's bigger than 2 megabytes. Of course, it's too big. Really? Are those bigger than 2 megabytes? Yeah, they're 9 megabytes. Okay. How about this one? Let's open that one. Yes, no, maybe. Thinking about it. I guess not. Make your thumbnail 1280 by 720, less than 2 megabytes. All right, so, but that's where you would upload your thing. Right now, I didn't, it takes a lot to prepare for the show, and this is one tiny little aspect that I sort of overlooked. Let us try to do this. Let us take and share. We're going to download. I don't want all pages. I'm sorry, I really don't. And I tell it to remember these settings, and every single time it forgets. Canva also forgets as well. So we're going to say download that. And this should be less than 2 megabytes. I actually don't know where it's downloading to. We will come over here to our video details on the YouTube. It's probably going to the downloads folder. So let's go to downloads. There it is. 311 kilobytes. Yay, it's less than 2 megabytes. There we go. And now I say, come up here, I say save. Oh, I gotta select a playlist. This is also important in terms of, I don't have a live thing. Interesting. We're gonna add a playlist, we're gonna say done. And say save. Until errors are resolved. Oh, remember to scroll down. No, it's not made for kids. Save. It's interesting. If you don't go on this page and try to change things, it'll stream. If you do go on this page, you can't make any changes until you check all those things that it wants you to put in information. So now you can see over here, right here, the thumbnail has changed. And if your people are not getting the proper thumbnail, that's probably why. So let's look at Facebook. Bump, 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 bump. Here is my YouTube channel. Please disregard my, I cleared all this out, but apparently people have been texting me while I've been on the show. So this we will need to refresh, and the stream should come up as, there it is. So I'm going to click on this. Oh, it got the time right. That is amazing. Here I go to show you that it doesn't get it right, and it got it right. Man, I wonder why this one got it right, but when I do it for YOLO Live every single week, it does not. So here is this event, interested, going, invite, and I don't see, it's not letting me edit it. I don't know why. Nope. I don't want to watch the video. I want to edit the event. And this is one of the things I hate about Facebook. It's different between what I do for YOLO Live and trying to do it for myself. And right here, I'm trying to do it, and it's not letting me change the, yes, I know it's online, it's live video, but there's no place to change the thumbnail. This is very, this is Facebook. And even with the YOLO live streams, I used to be able to attach cross-posting, and then Facebook decided we're going to change, instead of having 4 different pages you go through to set all your settings, we're now going to set it up so that It's a pop-up, and the pop-up does not include cross-posting. So now I have no idea where that is. And this is just an example that streaming is not as easy. Look at this. It's hello, Facebook. Should be able to find me. I'm logged into this account. So anyway, while Facebook is trying to figure out what it's doing, I apologize. Facebook is just being a pain in the butt today. Let me scroll back. Wow, been a bunch of comments. So I would still, Facebook is still thinking. We would like to choose a custom thumbnail for the uploaded videos on YoloCast. Also, when I share a link for live stream, the custom thumbnail does not show on the link. YoloCast does allow you to do custom thumbnails. You might need to do it before you create the event. It should let you edit the thumbnail after the event, just like YouTube does. There are many YoloCast tutorials on YouTube, so I would dive into those. Also, if you were using YoloCast, let me go to the laptop here. Down the bottom here on the left, there's my cursor, there are video tutorials right there in YoloCast. So you could watch those, and it may cover something that might not be entirely obvious just looking at the general interface. Hyleb Samuel says, hello from Sweden. Hello to you as well. Is it possible to add music background on YoloBox Pro? We did include this a little earlier. 3 different ways that you can do that. The best way to do that, if you just wanted to be a background, would be to have a video playing and then switch away from the video, but set up the video so that it keeps playing and looping in the background. And if you look over here at my Pro, at the very bottom over here, you'll see there's a video playing. So I could be talking and the video is playing, and then in the audio mixer over here, I have the local video, and I can adjust the audio level of that video that is playing and looping. So, but that's, you'd have to pre-build that all entirely. Is there any way we can include the ability to rotate the screen when in progress of a live stream rather than exit out of the stream to rotate? I don't know. Rotate the screen. YoloBox does not have a rotate feature, and the in-stream lets you rotate up, down, flip horizontal, flip vertical, do all those things without exiting. So I don't understand the question. You can edit the date and time in the YoloBox when you are in the event and look at the title bar at the very top. There is a pencil icon. Let's go look at that. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Let's go here. I'm looking at the Pro. Let's go back out. Done. There's a pencil icon. Nope. Oh, up there. Ah, look at that. See, I'm learning stuff every single day. Thank you. Done. I did not think to look up there. I didn't know that was like a control area. Normally the data that's up on that top bar, you can't touch. So, okay, there's a pencil icon up there. Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Shout out to Ben. Let's put that back up there for everybody. You can edit the time and date when YoloBox, look at the pencil bar at the very top up there. So awesome. Thank you. If setting up a show, how would you get to a website or somewhere to copy a detailed description? To set up a new show, how would you get to a website? You could use your cell phone. You could share your cell phone hotspot to a laptop and do it. Do it beforehand. Facebook will let you do up to a week. So when you're creating a new event, let's go do that. If you're over here, done. And if I'm going to duplicate this, duplicate. I'm going to create a new show, go, done. And what's my date? You can see I can do it up to just shy of a week in advance. So I could do it up to next Tuesday. And if I'm going to do it up to next Tuesday, I've got 6 more days to update the description and everything. Rakumar says, hi, how you doing? Thanks for coming. Problem with using the iPhone as an external wireless camera. When I send the link to it, it does not work with my phone. Laptop works fine. Why? Maybe the browser you're using. Maybe the data connection it has. Maybe, remember, when you send a remote guest link to a phone, you're going through the internet. So it's not a local connection between your phone and the YoloBox. It's a remote connection. I did a video on the 3 different ways you can connect a remote camera. That's one of the tech videos. 3 different ways you can use your phone as a camera. That one has additional delay. So if you have a regular camera and an iPhone, the iPhone will be delayed because it has to go all the way up to the internet and come all the way back down, whereas the in-room camera is physically connected. So they're not even going to have the same footage at the same time. You're going to have, like, you know, delay between the 2 cameras. Imda Brown says, I'm super late, have to watch the replay. Yep, we've been going for 1 hour and 5 minutes, but hey, it's been a pretty good show. Lots of questions been answered. You need to edit your event in your page as your page account as not your personal identity. Oh, that whole meta thing. Thanks, Facebook. No, thank you, Facebook. Used to be able to edit it as myself, but yeah, now it's a meta business thing. Thanks for that heads up. From Amsterdam, why can't the YoloBox Pro not have an output at 916 or rotate or flip the in-stream, and the in-stream, is it coming soon? No. The YoloBox is a horizontal device. It is designed horizontally. The interface is horizontal. It is designed to handle horizontal cameras. All of the titles are designed 1920 by 1080. The scoreboard is designed horizontal. The remote guests are designed. The entire interface is designed horizontal. The in-stream is designed for vertical. The app is designed vertically. It has vertical boxes for video. It has a tall vertical column for audio mixing. All of the titles are designed 1080 by 1920 because that's the vertical frame. Everything has been redesigned. It is not like, oh, I just want to rotate. No, the device needs to rotate. The interface needs to rotate. All of the elements need to have different pixel counts to know where they are on the frame. It's not just as simple as I just wanted to rotate. It doesn't work that way. Also, the YoloBox is designed with the API for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, and is designed to send 1920 by 1080. That's part of the metadata that gets communicated. When you use the in-stream, it is designed as a virtual camera that is communicating to Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. So it's not sending an RTMP. It's not using the video API. It's using a virtual camera into those other apps. So it's working completely differently. That's the way you can get vertical video into Instagram legally on the in-stream. So it's not going to come to the YoloBox because the YoloBox is a screwdriver. The in-stream is a wrench. Don't use a screwdriver to do what you need a wrench to do. Thank you. I was referring to videos in the media center. There's only the option to rename, but not to change the thumbnail. I hope Frank can answer that. Yeah, I hope Frank can answer that too. And that covers all the questions. I hope this show has been helpful to you. It has been a whirlwind show. We've been going for 1 hour and 10 minutes, and I appreciate all of you being here today. What was our count on? I'm just quick seeing how, wow, pretty good audience on YouTube and very active on Facebook too. I appreciate everybody, including Harry from Amsterdam, who's on Facebook, for chiming in. And thank you also to Ben. I'm going to put that back up there too. Ben, who let me know why Facebook was not letting me edit that because I'm not logged in as my business account. Can I do that real quick? I'm clicking on switch, but no, it's not switching to my AIBA account. I guess I got to go into the Meta site, and I really don't like the Meta site at all. It's just It's Facebook making it harder than it really needs to be. And that's just, you know, I have clients who love to use Facebook, but Facebook, even as we've shown on the show, I have, let's look over here on Facebook for the moment. Boo, 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 boo. I have, let me refresh this because that can't possibly still be right. Boo, 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 boo. I want to see what the count is. And I am, yes, we have 5 times the audience on YouTube that we have on Facebook. You would think Facebook would have a huge audience because of sharing and all the groups and social and everything, but YouTube is a fantastic video delivery medium, and week in, week out, I see Facebook deliver bigger, better audiences reliably every single week. And it works better, it's more intuitive, it's easier to do what you need to do. And Facebook seems to change their API, and then suddenly it doesn't work with, you know, maybe once a month, once every other month, there's an API change. And so it makes it hard to stay on top of what's going on Facebook when they keep changing what it does, how it works, and making it hard for video producers just to focus on making and delivering good video. Which, if you're using YoloBox, that's, you know, you want it to be simple, you want it to be good. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm glad somebody else did. Yes, Facebook is, it's like they're making it hard on themselves. They could make videos super easy and it would explode, but they seem to be doing everything possible to make video harder than it really needs to be to use on Facebook. Anyway, I appreciate you all being here. I will go through the rigmarole again. My name is Anthony Barocas. I'm an independent producer in Dallas, Texas, in the Dallas area. And I am happy to have you here every week, talk YoloBox, talk live streaming. And today I even learned a lot. So I appreciate having smart people in the audience that I can learn from, because this is no one person can know everything. You know, I know a bit, I know more than some, but I know that I also know less than others. And I am happy to keep learning. That's why I am in the official YOLO Live user group, because there are lots of really smart people, including the people from YOLO Live in this group. And so it's a great place to share information, ask questions, and get answers. If you speak Spanish as your first language, there's the YoloBox en Español group. And lastly, if you had a question that's not being solved in the Facebook groups, you can send a message directly to YOLO Live at contact@yololive.com. Again, I appreciate you all being here, and I will look forward to seeing you all next week. We'll reference a obscure TV show by saying same bat time, same bat channel. Thank you all, and have a good week.